the unspoken reason why every time Washington proposes a new military pact, Canadians hesitate, scrutinize, and resist. They have seen what happens when they place too much trust in their neighbor. Today, as U.S. representatives lobby Canada to purchase the troubled F 35 jets, many Canadians recall the arrow. They remember what they created and what they were compelled to surrender. And this time, they are not backing down. For years, Washington consistently pushed one message: buy the F 35 or jeopardize everything. It was presented not as a recommendation, but as a thinly veiled threat. Join the program, sign the agreements, or even NORAD, North America's Joint Defense Command, could be at risk. But beneath the slick marketing, a more troubling reality was hidden. The F 35 wasn't a revolutionary aircraft, it was a debacle. With an estimated cost of $1.7 trillion, the F-35 stands as the most expensive weapons initiative in history. It was intended to be the pinnacle of Western military power. Instead, it has become an emblem of the flaws within the military industrial complex. The jet is far behind schedule, beset by technical issues and billions over budget. At any given moment, less than half the fleet is operational. The issues are extensive: ejection seats that could be fatal to lighter pilots, helmets that obscure vision with a green light, and engines that fail in the Arctic, the very territory Canada is tasked with protecting. Worst of all, despite the massive investment, the F 35 continues to fall short of fundamental performance benchmarks. So, when Washington insisted that Canada join, many anticipated Ottawa would comply, just as it had with the Avro Arrow. But the dynamic had shifted. Mark Carney, the former head of both the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England, had no interest in acquiring a flawed product disguised in patriotism. Instead of simply approving the deal, he did something unprecedented. He opened up the bidding process. Sweden's Gripen, the European Typhoon, and even collaborative ventures with Australia and Japan were all suddenly considered. Canadians were watching closely because this was about more than just planes, it was about sovereignty. For the first time in generations, Canada was openly questioning whether its deep ties to American defense spending truly enhanced its security or merely drained its finances. Carney's action wasn't impulsive, it was strategic, precise, and fiscally responsible. He wasn't rejecting collaboration, he was rejecting pressure. Why should Canada commit to a $1 trillion catastrophe simply to preserve a facade of solidarity? As Washington's frustration grew, Canada's resolve strengthened. This wasn't about defiance, it was about self respect. Suddenly, what had seemed out of the question became a distinct possibility. Canada might finally abandon America's preferred fighter jet. And as that reality set in, the U.S. faced a startling realization. Its closest partner was no longer afraid to say no. For decades, the U.S. never really worried about Canadian tourism. It was a given, quiet, reliable